This is I Only Touch Greatness Remix. Scan the code and follow.
Only Touch Greatness.
Yeah.
The mayor of C-Town, Ryan Hayes, and his big name guest.
What up, it's DJ EFN, one half of Drink Champs, Crazy Hook Productions. Right now, I Only Touch Greatness podcast. You're checking it out. Let's go, DJ EFN. Let's go.
Growing up, or you're born in LA, but then moved to Miami.
Right.
What was childhood like for you, and what challenges did you have growing up and getting to where you are today?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. But
Yeah.
like you said, I was born in LA. My real younger years was in LA. That was home. I still got family there. I feel like I'm still, from the West Coast, like West and East. And coming to Miami was tough because, I left home basically. LA was home. My friends were there. My family was there. And Miami was foreign to me at the time. Although I'm from a Cuban background, Cuban American, and Miami's like a Cuban hub, being so close to the island, but that didn't matter to me. It was just a foreign place. So coming here at that age was rough, and making friends in the beginning was tough, as coming here, and then like the landscape, like my parents got divorced. I was raised by a single mother, and I was basically a kid. In those days the kids were in the streets more, but I was a kid in the streets, and just trying to learn the landscape of the streets in Miami, and I had a lot of like rough beginnings, sort of say, and the different like street politics and stuff like that.
And when did you get into music, and who really influenced you?
So I always loved music, and so I'm growing up, like the 80s, and every kid is a B-boy and a B-girl, and graffiti artists and doing all that stuff. So hip hop was always there. I just didn't know it was all a unified culture. The music is coming in. Like, I'm listening to all kinds of music, but slowly rap music is coming into the boombox, into the Walkman, and slowly but surely it started taking over more and more. And the groups that really solidified it for me, even though I was listening to hip hop from before these groups, was NWA and Public Enemy. They really like conveyed an emotion that I hadn't felt in hip hop yet. And so they're the ones who like really like, I was like, man, this is powerful. And then once I realized that this is a culture I was already living, and that it was a culture that it had all these elements, I was hooked, and I wanted to be a part of it.
So a little about me there. I used to be an A&R mixtape DJ, much like you kind of been over your career. I used to be the middleman. I'd get a verse from one friend. I'll put it on go get a beat from a different person somewhere around the world, and I'll put them all on a track, and then send the track to somebody else to get onto, and you send it around, and boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And you end up mixtaping all over the world. I read somewhere that you were you wanted to be the one in Miami to get the mixtapes rolling and get moving, just like I wanted to be in Vancouver. Was there, how did you get into that?
Well, once I decided that I wanted to actually pursue a music career, and kind of basically what the mission statement was. This is right out of high school. I'm graduating high school. Me and my boys my crew were just like hip hop heads. We were going all the hip hop jams and park jams and parties or whatever was going on at the time, and just being like really supportive and involved in the local scene. But we weren't doing anything in terms of output. And the mission statement from my company was like, we really felt Miami was underappreciated, underrespected on the hip hop map. And we want, Miami was known already for Miami Bass, Luke, Two Life Crew, and that's all a big part of it. But we were just big into the whole lyrical, boom bap side of things. And Miami had that, but it wasn't respected and known. So as a DJ, that's what I wanted to do. My personal role is become a DJ, which I did. I started looking around, and there was already guys that were doing the clubs and the parties that were known. There was already guys that were turntablists, world DMC champions, like DJ Craze, who's my homie that lives close to me. And there was, people on the radio, which I wasn't really interested in the radio at the time. So I was like, the mixtape stuff, that's, that's where I was getting all my music anyways. the radio wasn't playing it like that. So I was like, I want to do that for Miami because all the mixtapes we got were just repping New York mostly. So I'm like, I need to put on for my city, you know, give you the same flavor, but I'm gonna put on for Miami, and that's why I took that lane.
And that's what I tried to do with Vancouver as well. So I won 3 West Coast Hip Hop Awards for an A&R, and just used to do that. And then I kind of retired from music, and then I started the podcast last year. So we've been rocking ever since. I'm going to introduce, I got one more question before I introduce, but it's basically, if you had a dream dinner that you can invite 3 guests to, who are you inviting?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. It doesn't matter.
Damn, man. It depends because there's so many different people and personalities I would want. But I guess since we're talking about music, I'll stick with music. For
an example, I always go with Tupac, Seth Rogen, and maybe Hulk Hogan.
Oh, if you're gonna mix it up, I'll say, fuck, man, Big L, Andre 3000, and Robin Williams.
Okay, that's sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna let Prince get a question in. RX is in the building too, also.
RX, what up, family?
What's happening, my guy? Hey, we getting old. These years going too goddamn quick, man.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yo, this is best thing ever. I swear to God, man. RX and DJ EFN, man. I've been waiting for this, man. I'm a huge fan. And matter of fact, I've been like a huge Miami fan anyway. So because I used to go to Miami, like we used to visit my sister and stuff. So I've been a huge, last time I remember I was in Miami, I went and got this CD. Listen by the first, I think it was like the first CD I ever listened to from DJ Khaled. Listen.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. So I wanted to talk about it because I see it right now. Fragile. The management with Mayday. When was Mayday and at that time was they on did they come on the scene on Strange Music?
So Mayday, just to give you a backstory of Mayday, the first thing I ever did as when I created my company in 1993, Crazy Up Productions, is we did a warehouse jam. And like I said, I wanted to put on for the local scene in any way possible. And one of the things I did is I wanted to put on local artists to perform at this event. And Mayday came to me by way of a homie that went to junior high with me. And they were they weren't Mayday. So they were a group called All the King's Men. Right. But it was Plex and it was Burns. And I didn't know them at the time. And then fast forward later on, they become Mayday. And then, you know, I'm heavy in the mixtape scene and I start putting them on my mixtapes because, again, it's all about, you know, putting on for the local cats and getting them on these joints. And then Recognize separately I'm working with. And then fast forward, I start managing them and Recognize joins them. And there's a long history with Mayday, but they were really putting in work way before Strange. Right. Strange was something with me and the Trifecta management put together. You know, my homie, he got to Dave, who was the vice president of Strange Music. Got the demo to Tech, and we performed for Tech in Orlando when he came on tour, and then in Fort Lauderdale, and the deal was sealed after that, man. Then they got signed to them.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite award or piece of memorabilia that you've ever collected?
Man, I got so much shit, bro.
It's I couldn't break them all down here.
Yeah, man. It's like when people ask me what's my favorite record or what, like a DJ, I'm like, I got so many records in my head I couldn't pinpoint one. Same thing with memorabilia, man. I've been collecting a piece of history ever since I started. Like, you know, people would be like, yo, why you like, I'll save one of everything because I had a marketing company. So whenever we would get all this stuff to market these artists, we had millions of them, but I would always put one to the stash. And people were like, why are you keeping that? I was like, you never know, man. Like, this might mean something later on. And you know, like, it's funny because then fast forward, I do drink champs, and every so often I might bring a piece of this memorabilia to the guest that's there that has something to do with them, and they're like, "Oh shit, you know, you got that." So you know, it all means something, man. And
you also got the big project going with RX, and
Yes, sir. We appreciate
EDM part.
you.
And Chino XL.
So shout out to Chino XL. Shout out to the whole
Legend.
crazy team. Boris Garcia, you know what I'm saying? Jay Havana, especially the man who needs no introduction. Big ups, you know what I'm saying? The AD Empire. Yes, sir.
Yeah.